What's up, everyone? This is DYANAROZAY. Welcome to my channel. Can you guys hear me now? I see you saying no sound. Can you hear me now? Can't hear, no sound. What's up, everyone? Can you hear me now? No sound. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, I see you. What's going on, everyone? Come on in. Thank y'all for joining this afternoon live. Okay, y'all see it there? Say your piece, okay? We are going to talk about it. Welcome. 110 of you are here watching. Make sure that you hit the like button, join the chat. Thank you to all of the mods. I see you back there. Welcome. And thank you. Okay, come on in, y'all. We are about to talk about what has been going on with Lexi and the Fletchers. A lot of people had things to say. We've been talking about it since the video dropped. Let me get it right. I said the young man's name wrong, okay? The person who did that interview, his actual name is, let me make sure I say the right one this time. I made a correction, but I want to give a shout out on the live. His name is Giving You the Real Tea. I think his name is Terrence, but the YouTube channel is Giving You the Real Tea. So come on in. Let me get on camera. I haven't been on camera in a minute. Hope I'm not scaring myself. Okay, here we go. So hey everyone, welcome. Hey Miss Tina. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Make sure that you hit the like button on your way in, please, and thank you. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click for those notifications. What's up, Miss Cookie? I see you in the chat. Hey, Nola, what is going on? Okay, so y'all, I'm going to be dropping the link in just a minute, but we are here to talk about Miss Lexi and what she has going on. Child, so much tea got dropped. I don't even know if it was tea, but it was definitely hurt, pain, resentment, all the things, right? And all I can say is I know she's a young woman and that, you know, everybody got to walk their journey, but you could definitely tell, for those of us who are a little bit older, you can tell that she's going through some things and she got to work herself out of it, okay? So I appreciate every single one of you guys for showing up today on the DYANAROZAY platform. And this platform today, what we're doing right now is giving you an opportunity to come up and speak your piece, because a lot of people have lots of things to say. There were all kinds of questions going on previously when we saw Lexi. By the way, let me say this. Lexi stole the show when she was on Love and Marriage Huntsville and they had the dinner scene. She truly stole the show. Like, people wanted to know what was going on with her, what was going on. Thank you, Miss Ann. If you guys did not get an opportunity to see the sister review, let me show you what it looks like. Please check it out. This is the thumbnail for the sister review, okay? So check that out. Just in case I don't hit every opinion that I discussed in that review, me and my sister took time out to break it all the way down as much as we could, okay? But anyway, my sister's name is Clone, by the way. Shout out to Miss Clone. But anyway, that girl stole the show. Like, everybody wanted to know about her, what she had going on. You know, more about the dynamics of the relationship. I know sometimes you see stuff and you don't see it the way everybody else saw it, but people were interested in Lexi. They were more interested in Lexi than I think anybody else's relationship or any other of the kids on the show at the time. And so what she did when she did that review or that interview, again, and I understand she feels how she feels. I'm not taking anything away from her. She feels how she feels, child. And her feelings are valid and very real for her, despite what everybody else's perception may be. But her saying that she's never been a part of that family, no one cares about her in that family. She was invited to do a show with the family, right? She was invited to do a show with the family. And I don't know if she realized how big that is, or even if she, I don't, maybe she doesn't care because she said reality TV isn't her thing. But it, to have someone bring you on and say this is our whole family, I think that's a big deal too. But you guys, if you did not get a chance to see that sister review that I just put the thumbnail up for, watch it. It's amazing. Make sure you are hitting that like button on your way in. 236 of you are watching right now. Make sure that you are hitting that like button on your way in. I know that this subject matter, um, it causes a lot of feelings, okay? What's up, Lexington, Kentucky? It causes a lot of feelings. I want for people to be able to share whatever their feelings are, without being attacked in the comments. I also want, whoever shows up in those comments, they're allowed. I will block anybody that shouldn't be there. But you guys, as long as you are being respectful, you are allowed to hang out in the chat and talk, and you are allowed to come up on this platform and talk if that's what you'd like to do. Okay. But we are talking about Lexi today. Most of you already have heard about it. Lexi went in on Nell Fletcher and her father, went in on them, basically said, listen, I don't know those people. They're more like an auntie and an uncle to me than anything. Eek, that's pretty disrespectful. An auntie and an uncle than anything else. She said that they weren't really there for her growing up, that they didn't, there was things that she might have wanted that they didn't buy her. They gave her excuses like, we pay your mother child support. She also said that she had a father that was present in her life, her stepfather, since the age of 5. It sounds like she grew up in the house with other siblings. So she has, siblings in the Fletcher household, and then siblings in the household she shared with her mother. They lived in different states, but it sounds like both her mother and her were saying, listen, we were cool. Like, we were friends. Her mother said she used to pray over Nell Fletcher's relationship with her ex-husband, that they would, what? I think she said something about going over and picking up Nell's oldest son to hang out with her daughter, Lexi, because, they had that brother-sister relationship. That's right, Miss Cookie. We can all agree to disagree, but be without being disrespectful. So please be kind and grown, for sure. I don't want anybody to be bashed. Again, people's experience are their experience. So we just want to make sure that people get an opportunity to share what they want to share. And we can learn something new. Everybody's perspective is different. Dee said that I believe Lexi will eventually soften up towards Lernell and Christopher and participate in her family. Well, this is a start, right? We just saw something that was a start. I really believe that she's hurting. I really believe that she loves her father, that she absolutely wants her father to be a part of her life. And so I'm hoping that he can do that, that he can kind of break that wall, whatever that wall is, and be a part of her life. What's up, Linda? Welcome to the platform. I see you, girl. She's here to help moderate. So I'm going to drop this link. I'm going to drop the link, and I want to see how many people we can come up and have a grown conversation just like we did before. We'll have a conversation about what's going on here. And yeah, see how people are feeling in this piece. A lot of people have had plenty to say. Oh, wow, this chat is rolling. A lot of people have had plenty to say, so we're gonna see what's going on. One second, you. Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to get this to work right. All right, so we are bringing people up to have the conversation. And I see T. Elise is here. And I don't think I've had you on the platform before. How are you and welcome?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
up. So, what are your thoughts, child, on all of this? What's going on here?
Okay, I'm gonna say a few things. There's so many. Well, there's a few things about this story that I can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm just gonna start by naming some of the dynamics of what we're dealing with. So we're dealing with a young couple who had a baby, a young couple that got married. We're dealing with the dynamics of a military family who are living in different places. And then we're also dealing with young adults and how they interpret the things that happen in their lives that they weren't a part of. And so now they have to dissect that information and come to some conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
So the similarities that I have with that, I have a 32-year-old
Mm-hmm.
son who is not by my husband and who grew up with my husband from the age of 5
Mm-hmm.
and did not see his biological father that much. My husband is also in the military, so I understand the dynamics of, trying to navigate bringing family together when you're not in the same um, geographical area. So I'm just going to say that. So with saying that, there's so much about this. And so where I have the issue with Lexi is that I feel like, and I'm going to use one of Kimmy's terms, she's starting in the middle. So, and even the mom started beyond where Lexi is because she's bringing us to date of her feelings now. But
Mm-hmm.
she didn't talk about how she felt earlier
You're
when she
referring
was
to the
telling
mother.
Lexi these things.
You're talking about her mother, right?
Her mother.
Okay.
And what I know when you're dealing with I'm gonna say an absent parent, even though like in my son's situation, his dad was kind of in and out, and it sounds like Chris was in and out, and I don't think he disputes that.
Mm-hmm.
um, you do have to be very careful with what you say about that other parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit it's hard because sometimes you see your child wanting the other parent and not having it, and you want to just be brutally honest, but it does not serve your child well to be that brutally honest, especially with girls. Because with girls, they tend to, they can be empaths, and especially with their mom. Most time girls are gonna, kind of take on some of those feelings. They become the mom's little mini best friend. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's so much to unpack there. And while the mom may feel like she didn't, um, I'm gonna say bash Chris, in some ways indirectly she probably did. And because she feel like she has this great husband, I feel like I had one too. You do still have to be very careful with putting that person above that child's biological parent
So
because that biological,
I
I'm
want to ask
sorry.
you a little clarification, if you don't mind. You're saying that Lexi's mother believed that she had a great husband, or Nell Fletcher? What, like,
Oh,
I
I'm sorry. Yeah, Lexi's mom, and I don't know her name, so I'm gonna call it. So I'm say, yeah, I'll be more
feel like
clear.
it's Cornelia. I may be mistaken. Please forgive me, but I feel like she said it was Cornelia.
That may be right, but yeah. So Lexi's mom, um, if she's in this great marriage, her husband has stepped in. Very good. That's what a husband should do. And a lot of times, those dads they come in, they take the place. They pick up the pieces and they father that child, but they're in the home. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I feel like there's some truth there. But what I feel like with Lexi, I feel like her recollections of some of these truths needed her mom to come in and fill in some of the pieces. If she was going to give anything, she should have came in and said, well, let me explain to you why they're making statements about child support. Well, let me help you understand the different dynamics of our home and that home. Because just like she wasn't getting everything the Fletcher kids were getting on that side, neither were they getting what she was getting from her home with her mom, with Lexi's mom.
So, do you
And
mind
so,
if I ask you this question? Do you mind if I ask you this question? Because Liza More Lies is asking one of the questions I had asked. Uh,
mhm.
I'm going to read this comment. She said, I must have missed the mother saying that she was talking bad about Chris. From what I saw, Lexi is going to be Lexi and bash Chris all on her own. So she's basically saying she's not so sure that her mother fed her certain stories. I mean, Lexi is 30 something now. So
Mhm.
what I was seeing is I know if you have a natural curiosity about what's going on, which it seems like she always has, despite what her mother would have told her natural curiosity would have been, I need to find out the truth about X, Y, and Z. You're not going to just swallow everything whole once you start living your own life and moving through some things. So I don't think that she's still in that same this is what mom told me at 8 years old stage. I think she's a grown enough woman to say, look, at this point, I realized that we were living in two different homes, but her experience for unfortunately is completely different. Um, and for whatever reason, she's still in that little girl's place. So do you think that I'm not sure why she is? She just seems to be, she's locked there. But
Yes.
you think it's her mother.
Well, I think it's both. So I agree. I agree. I believe she's kind of stuck. And that's why I believe, sometimes we feel as though we're helping our children when we're not. And not to even bash our mom, because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how things are going to pan out
Hmm.
for your kids, and you are trying to help them the best way you can. But I
Hmm.
do believe Lexi is. I'm just going to deduce from the things that she said, based on how her mom and Chris broke up, the relationship between her mom and Nell, the relationship between Chris and Nell, because even her own mom came in to clear some of that up, because Lexi was telling it her way, and her mom was like, well, wait a minute, let me fix this. And
Now,
so,
go ahead.
and so that lets you know that they've had conversations. And
Hmm.
that's where I'm saying, even with my biological daughter and my husband's biological daughter that we shared together, she's almost 24. There are some things that I would never share with my daughter, because I don't believe she would be able to handle it from the standpoint of a child. Um,
How old is your daughter?
she's 23,
Okay.
and she's a daughter that my husband and I share together. And so that's where I come into the young adult aspect of this. And this is where I feel like Lexi is stuck, because as young adult children, sometimes they have these thoughts of my parents didn't, my parents didn't. And usually by the age of 32, they come into the realization that, oh, my parents weren't that bad. Oh, my parents did the best they can. Or my parents did do this, XYZ. And sometimes, and I feel like this is a lot of Lexi's problem. This is my assumption. She didn't say anything. I'm going now off of her demeanor and some of her entitlement speech. I believe sometimes these young adult children will also adapt the stories of their friends. Because
Hmm.
my friend had it this way, okay, I'm going to relate to my friend and say it was the same for me. And I even had to clear some things up with my own daughter and say, wait a minute, whose story are you borrowing? Because that is simply not what happened. But
Mm.
now here she comes at 23, almost 24, and saying, you know what, mom, I'm so thankful for you. My other friends, they weren't raised right. They're coming. So the conversation changes, my point. And usually by 32, the conversation would change. But Lexi's conversation hasn't changed. And even having her own children, and she mentioned a relationship
Hmm.
going sour for herself. And that's when her mom kind of said, that's when I started sharing things with Lexi to let her know she could get through it. So that's another piece of it, because sometimes girls will go through the similar things like their mom, and they will put those relationships
She
together
said that
and not properly separate it.
she said Lexi was a single mother. She said when Lexi was a single mother, and it made it seem like she had a child prior to getting married. Um,
Hmm.
that may not be her husband's, even though that was not clarified. I want to say that. But she
Hmm.
said when she was a single mother, this is when I started sharing more with her. And I thought she's getting information, but the way she wanted to bash her dad and stepmother and the children there just felt really crazy. I don't know if you are able to come back up, but if you can come back up, you just have to make sure you mute your mic, okay? Sorry about that. Go ahead. Sorry, I had to interrupt that part. 40,
No, no,
46.
that's good. And that's the thing. And so, like, for example, and I'm just sharing my business. with my son's father, that were a lot of things I probably could have told him, but what good would it do him?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always going to encourage you, always encourage a healthy relationship with your kids and their parent. And I'm not saying if they're in an abusive situation or something that's not good for them, I'm not saying that. Let me put that disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's workable, if it's reasonable, you encourage those relationships. And so did my husband. My husband has never tried to take the place of my son's father, and has always encouraged him to have that relationship with his biological dad. And
So let me
because
ask
that,
you another question. Has
uh-huh.
your children ever asked you questions just like, could you tell me about the relationship you had with my dad from blah, 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 or any of those things? Have they ever just been curious? I know you said that you wouldn't tell them, but if they ask you, or have they asked you, and if they did ask you now, would you be honest in sharing your experience or no? You still would
so
keep it in the dark?
so the difference, I guess, with me is son versus daughter. So it's my son that doesn't have my husband as his biological dad. I would share to an extent, but that's what I'm saying. You think about the child and where they are mentally, if they're in a vulnerable state, and I may or may not leave out some of the details.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thankfully, my son and his dad, we didn't end like badly. Like we didn't end because of cheating, and we were young.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't married, no abuse or nothing like that. But had it been something like that, I
Mm-hmm.
probably would not have given him those type details if I didn't think he could handle it. Because you don't want to give your child something that will affect their relationship. And this is something I learned with my own parents. I grew up with both parents. For 4 years after I was an adult, my parents were divorced.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, because now here I'm older, I got to make sure that I'm separating my relationship with my dad from my mom's relationship with my dad. They're
Mm-hmm.
two separate relationships. And we have to be careful not to mix those relationships. And I'm not saying like a Martell effect to where if he's a bad husband, he's a bad dad, because that is a true factor. My parents' thing wasn't related to something like that. But you have to be careful with the information that you have as a child and as a parent that you give your child that will affect their relationship with the other parent as much as you want to. And I'm not saying you're not being truthful to your children, but there are certain things your children don't need to know. Now, if it's something that you think can help them, like what the mom was saying, I was trying to encourage her and tell her she could get through it. I did. Okay, that's good. But did she need to know that Nell was a side chick?
So let
Knowing
me
that
say
she has,
this.
I'm sorry.
I'm interested in what you have to say. So I'm gonna ask you to hold that thought, and I'm gonna ask some people in the chat. I am a child who remembered everything. I could remember everything. Like my earliest memories was probably two, maybe three. And I remember telling my mom something that I remembered like the whole day I was able to recount, like, and tell her this. And I remember her being so shocked, like, she literally is, how the hell did you know? How do you remember that? Like, some people have memories. And I could tell her, I remember being at my grandmother's house. I remember my dad picking me up and taking me to this building. I remember what the building looked like, what I was sleeping on. I remembered everything. And she literally just had her mouth open, like she almost looked like she stopped breathing. Like, what? And it was just like, I remember, can you tell me what happened? Um, and she was able to tell me. It wasn't horrible. It was, I was at my grandmother's house. My mom and my dad were in an argument. I was at my grandmother's house, and my dad came and got me, like, well, you're not going to stop me from seeing her. I'm coming to get her. It was that kind of thing. Um, but it was shocking that I would remember at that early of an age. And I'm happy that she was able to share it with me. I don't think all the time that sometimes people think that kids are too young to remember, or that they don't feel the energy of things that's going on around them with their parents. And I think that as adults, we have to connect those dots for the child when they get older, especially if they're asking, because they carry a lot of resentment. They carry a lot of unanswered questions, and it puts holes in people. I think we have to keep that in mind too. That's why I was asking if your son or daughter asked you today about something that happened when they were younger, if you would tell them. And I want to know the same of the chat. And if anybody wants to come up to say your piece, you are definitely welcome. If you do not want to be on camera, I will ask you when you come up, and I can put a screen over you so that you can share your feelings or thoughts. I want to protect your identity if you're afraid to communicate on screen, but just let me know, okay? All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. And let me say this.
Hmm.
As my son got older, as he realized things on his own, we
Hmm.
could talk about those things. I'm just saying I didn't volunteer bad information to him because kids are smart. So when he would recognize that my dad said he was coming and he didn't come, why? We had to go through those things. We had to discuss those things and talk about those things. And those things did upset my husband, who is not his biological dad. He
Hmm.
said, you know what? I don't like that. So
Hmm.
those were some of the things that my son started to understand on his own. So I always say, let the kid figure it out. And then, yes, have a discussion about it and then help them through it. And so I just feel like, so that's what I'm saying. The mom may have. So I don't want to, again, I don't want to bash her. But once the child come to know something that's not, good information or whatever, or it may be harmful, help them through that information in whatever way that you see fit, but help them in a way that is going to help them long term so they're not stuck as they become adults. And
Okay.
now that I have 3 adult children, I can see those things that happen in the younger years that affect them once they get older. And so that's why I'm always encouraging parents, okay, when you see this, and that's why even some of the things and comments I've made about Melody and Martell's situation as it relates to their kids. Like, no, do this for that child, because later on, that child may have questions that they will be stuck if they don't have answers for. And you may or may not be here to give them those answers at that time.
And let me
So,
tell you something. That is probably the worst of it, when a child has questions and they don't get the answers. Your parents pass away. It really is one of those things. It there's no way to explain it. You just feel lost. So I have someone in the back, Veronica. I'm going to put you on stage now. And once you get up on stage, you can let me know if you would like to be seen or if you'd like to stay behind the screen. Okay. So I'm adding you to the stage now. And you can let me know if you'd like to be seen or if you want to stay behind the screen.
I'd like to stay behind the screen.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you for coming up, and welcome to the platform.
Okay, I'm 68 years old, and
Okay.
my mom is 85 years old.
One second. I can barely hear you. Can you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, I said I'm 68, and my
Uh-huh.
mother is 85.
Okay.
I'm like you. I have memories from the age of 2.
Okay.
There were
Speak up
things,
just a little louder. So I heard you say that you're 68, your mother is 85, and that
yeah,
you've also have memories from the age of 2.
yeah,
Okay.
and are things that I remember bits and pieces of that I were inquisitive about all of my life, and now at my ripe age, I finally got the courage to bring some of these events up to her. And like your mom, she was shocked that I knew about it, that I remembered it.
Yes.
And I had
Absolutely.
with her to answer questions that were family secrets. But from hearing, like they said, little pigs have big ears,
Mhm.
and I would overhear parts of adult conversations that I wasn't supposed to hear, that I wondered about. So it's important to be honest with the children because it will forever ponder in their minds, what was it? What really happened? What did that really mean?
Right.
That's
100%.
and it's still some things that I haven't brought to her yet. Because like I said, she's 85 and right now she's suffering with a heart disease, and I can't, you know, say that so much. I've waited so long, but I've come from a family full of secrets. Um,
Yes.
everything was hidden, swept under the rug, whispered, and not brought to light. Only the good things were brought to light. Never none of the negative things. They were swept under the rug, covered up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just feel like I was raised to believe in right and wrong and good and bad. But how could they teach me these beliefs that I believe in and they were liars, and they weren't honest or truthful, like I thought it was supposed to be.
Right.
And even at my ripe old age, that can be damaging. The ones that raised you and taught you and your different pillars of the family, grandmothers and great grandmothers that you might have, you know, had relationships with, and you built them up in your eyes, and you believe in their teachings and everything they say. And then when you get older and you start putting the pieces together, and you realize it just wasn't really like that. And to me, that can be damaging.
100%. When you find out that life is a lie, it is going to also create a whole lot of problems for you if you are being taught or trained to think about your reality one way and it's something completely different. That's what a lot of people are saying is the situation with Lexi, is that she's not living in the correct reality in regards to her family, and she's trying to pass off that reality to everybody else. You guys think this way of the Fletchers, and it's not true. And I don't think that we have I don't think that we have a everything about the Fletchers is amazing. I think what we have of the Fletchers is that they are a real family with real problems. That's what we when we were like, oh great, this is someone we get to see as a real family with real problems. I think that for whatever reason, she believes that we're putting them on a pedestal, and we're not. And I also think that people, even though she might have been kind of ashamed about what happened, I think she doesn't realize that she was probably like the breakout star of that family in that moment. And if she wanted to, continue and tell her story in an honest way, it would have been great. But sometimes you can't do that either, because we're watching it for, entertainment, even though we do get something from it. We watch it for entertainment. They're going through it. So it's something different. But I agree with you, Veronica, and I'm happy that you are able to share that. To say you're 68 and you still have questions and you're still approaching your mother about those things. It's really that's a lot. I've lost both of my parents. There are things that I wish I was able to ask them right now that I can't. And, I'm just grateful that my sister and I have each other, and we piece together things as much as we can with some of the stuff. But it's important to get those answers and the truth, I think.
And as far as Lexi, I'm not going to discredit anything that she has experienced or went through, but I think Lexi is suffering to such a deep level that there's a lot of truth and uncertainty. I think she has some clogged memories that she can't quite clear up what
Mhm.
really happened or what was really true. You know,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't think she was intentionally mistreated or undermined or anything like that. They were young when they started out, and you make mistakes, but I don't think that she was intentionally ignored or mistreated. But I think part of her hurt from not being a part of that new union might have clouded some of her feelings, you know. And when she entered that dark space, she couldn't see through the clouds of the darkness what was really real or what wasn't real, and all of her feelings might have just been like in a whirlwind,
Mhm.
to where it just spun out of control, and that's where all that anger and bitterness, you know,
Comes from.
coming from.
Right, I agree with you. I'm going to welcome to the stage Miss Simone. Hi, Simone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. How are
Great.
you all today?
I am great. Do you have anything to add about your earliest memory and whether or not you were able to get answers from your parents? As Black people, we're often told as kids that, if it's not your business, stay out of grown folks' business. And they don't always piece together things for us. As we get older, it does become one of those things where they think because we're a child that we didn't know or have no idea, about certain things. And we know. We
Right,
just don't
right.
say it to them.
Yeah, I have to admit I just jumped on about 5 minutes ago, so I didn't hear like maybe your initial question.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as, maybe withholding secrets or what have you within families, That definitely happens a lot in a lot of families across the board. And just, I couldn't find the full interview with Lexi,
Mhm.
but it just seems like, and I don't want to negate any of her feelings, but it just seems like, from what I saw, the little snippet I saw, eh, it it just seems like she may not want to see the full truth, and maybe her mom might be not helping her in the best way, when it comes to certain things. But that's just, me on the outside looking in. Did she say she is in therapy or talking to someone outside of her mother and dealing with this? Because I did listen to you and your sister this morning, and
Mhm.
it did sound like it was a lot of, lack of a better word, delusion
Mhm.
in what she was saying, because she was contradicting herself. Um, I mean, what is she? If she's just trying to cut off everything and just throw all kind of things at them right now, if she doesn't want to talk to her dad at all or try to make any amends or anything. Is that where we're at?
So it sounds like, sorry about that. So she did say she was in therapy. She did say she was in therapy. She also said that she is on medication. She's in
Mm,
therapy on medication, and it sounds like it was just like a toilet flush. I need to get everything out about the Fletchers. She was saying this family, and she was being as she wanted to separate herself from them, make herself distant from the Fletchers. They did not raise me. I barely spent time with them. And really what she kept saying over and over when as it was, wrapping up was, I didn't realize that those people hate me. I didn't realize that they didn't like me. I didn't realize that I wasn't appreciated, or so you could tell that her feelings were that maybe at the end of that scene when she overhears Kayla call her a bitch,
yeah.
the way the
Yeah.
scene ends with Lance saying, "She's always like this." I'm sure that all of those things did hurt her.
Mhm.
She didn't hear it, and she saw it on television. She goes out to the car, she sees her dad, how that scene ended with him saying, "Get the F on." It really was dismissive.
Mhm.
She didn't we
Well,
didn't talk about that as much, but I
mhm.
also think that she has some feelings that she has to resolve, and a lot of it comes from just living in 2 different households is what it sounds like.
Right, right. I mean, I thought she was very impactful on the show because to me, when that scene played out, that was some of the realest stuff we seen outside of, Melody and her ex-husband. But I think you're right in everything you just said. She has some things that she has to take care of within herself, because I just don't, I mean, you never know what goes on in families, but I don't think she has been as severely mistreated as she may believe, although, that's her own experience, and, we gotta allow her that. But I also think in some families, there's always one who they will refuse to be rational in how they've been treated. They are always, quote unquote, the victim. I know in my family, that's happened. My mom and cousins and my grandmother and her sisters, it was always one. And from what I saw, from what, I was told, because especially my mother's side of the family, they're open book. They tell everything.
Mhm,
And I nothing, no big event occurred, um, that made the sister just act this way, but they decided to distance themselves from her because her behavior, she just behaved very irrational. Uh-oh.
mhm,
She behaved very irrationally, very nasty. She was very cruel. Their father died at a young age, and so my grandmother was the oldest. So she kind of took care of the kids under her a lot. She kind of had the mother, quote unquote, mother figure. And that one sister just was very mean, very nasty. And all of the siblings had that experience with her, but she couldn't see it. She thought everyone was being nasty with her. So I think it's always one in every family that will they're always the victim. Everyone's being mean to them, but they're reacting because of their behavior. And I think I see a lot of that with Lexi. Her behavior maybe at times, may or may not. I'm not saying that, because her sister calling her the bad word, and the other ones they did, it was a true scene. It was nasty. I would have felt some sort of way too. But maybe prior to that, because the cousin, the niece, I can't think of her name, Nell's niece, she had said they were really close at one time. So some stuff happened, and might be some jealousies laid in there. But come based on the couple snippets I heard of the interview itself, and listening to you and your sister, I just really pray that she gets some help and maybe can look at it, someone who's not in the family. A good therapist can really, really make her see that maybe they weren't trying to be directly unfair to you, but they were having to treat you accordingly because of the situations, possibly. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to keep you. I know it's probably other people coming up, but I did enjoy you guys. I thought you guys did a good breakdown this morning when I listened to you, and I've been in meetings all day, so I just clicked on YouTube and saw your live open. So I said, let me get on here.
I appreciate you always. Thank you. So D. Hertford said that she has been in therapy since she was 14 years old, so about 18 years, which is a while. It's a while. So she has something that is, again, she could just be going through something super deep and just trying to work out her baggage, it sounds like.
Wait a minute. Lexi's been in therapy for 14 years?
That's what they're saying. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and she's not that old. I mean, she's what, early 30s, 30 or younger?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
wait a minute. Well, what's going on with her mama's in that household then? That makes me question that.
And
I
she
gotta,
have
where,
an
where can I
imbalance.
find this whole interview? Because I need to look at it from beginning to end. Because
Giving you
something
the real tea is the name of the channel. Giving you the real tea.
giving you the real tea, giving you the real tea. Okay, I'll look that up.
Okay.
So 14 years, that's a long time. That's a very long time.
Miss Kim. Kim is trying to come up backstage. Kim, it says your device is not connected, so you're gonna have to drop out and come back in. I'm not sure what's happening, but I wanted to give you that heads up. And if you are watching the chat, 542 of you are watching the chat right now, make sure that you hit that like button and become a subscriber if you're not already. All right, now I have Miss Kim. How are you, girl? Oh, damn, she dropped down again. Sorry
She
about
may need to get a new therapist. If she's been with the same one for 14 years, she might want to try something new. Because
Well, we
that,
don't know if she has
mm,
a certain disorder. We don't know that. She said that she was open about taking like medication. I don't know if it's for anxiety or something like that. She did communicate that. You can watch the interview to see what she
mm,
said. Um,
okay.
but it was just clear that she was hurt, that she has some resentment for sure. And
Mm,
like I said, that the way that scene ended with the family, we all knew that that was going to create some problems, period.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'll drop down. I won't keep you, but I'm gonna
okay,
find that interview and look at it in totality. All
that's
right.
cool. Okay, thank you.
See
And
you later.
bye-bye, Miss Simone. I do want to thank Veronica for coming up, because I know that was, that was her first time. She was just saying that she is 68 years old, 85-year-old mother, you guys, and that there was things that was happening when she was a child, um, that she is just now bringing to her mother's attention and getting questions for. And that was that whole thing. So, hey, Miss Queen Wisdom, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you to Miss Tia Lise who came up. I see that she dropped down, but thank you, Miss Tia Lise. Okay, sorry about that, Queen Wisdom. What do you have to say about this situation? What's been going on with Lexi and the Fletchers?
Okay, I speaking on this because I was the child and the parent. And let me tell you something. We all have a sad story to tell. And you have to at one point brush your knees off and get up and what you're gonna do about yourself and your life. She has a husband, she has the kids. If they are treating her so bad, then you distance yourself from them and you go on with your life.
Hmm.
She's to me, I'm not dismissing what she's saying. I'm not saying the flexures are perfect or not. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, look, she said some ugly stuff about uh to me, I looked at it, the whole thing was to make the Fletchers look bad
Hmm.
and to give sympathy and pity for me. A lot of that stuff she had some discrepancies in that, and so when I see discrepancies, I see lies, I see manipulation. I
Hmm.
had a mother that left me in a house with my brother, and I'm the oldest, and never came back. I
Oh.
had a I had a father. I might have seen him 5 times out my whole life, and when the hospital called and say, "Are you such and such?" Yes, ma'am. Are you such and such daughter? Yes, ma'am. Well, he didn't had a stroke and we didn't have him in the hospital. He's getting a little better. Can you come and pick him up? I didn't go. That man ain't do nothing for me my whole life, and he ain't this and he ain't that. I went and got my daddy. I tried to nest my daddy back to her health. He ended up dying maybe a year later, and my husband buried him. So that's what and I am older than Lexi. That's what I don't understand about her. To this day, my mama don't like me. I do what I can for my mama, and I stay out her way. But I would never disrespect my mom, cuss her out, act a fool with my mom and my dad. And to me, they was not good parents whatsoever. My mother was not nurtured, but I had a good grandmother that taught me how to be a woman, that taught me how to be nurtured. I have a blood daughter that came out of me that's disrespectful. We don't like her to come around. We have a peaceful house. Every time she come around, she bring mess, drama, jealousy, and we try to give her a chance. We let her come back. She cause confusion. We tell her she can't come back for maybe a few months. You know, when you're a mother, you try to deal with your child. My daughter is grown, but what I'm saying is she's my own child and not a stepchild. And when she calls, we go, "Oh Lord, it's her calling."
So
Oh,
let
I
me
hope
ask
it.
you this question,
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom. Have you
Uh-huh.
ever gotten to the bottom of why you have this kind of friction with your daughter?
Yes, I have. I was not a perfect parent, but I did not like you hear like people kids that been molested or um the mom that done this. I hadn't done anything major like that. Me and her dad did separate also. She wanted to go live with her dad. She was a dad's girl, so she went with her dad. And so we have 3 boys, so the boys came with me. It was the opposite. The boys wanted to come and she wanted to come with her dad. And so we had her dad ended up getting remarried. I ended up getting remarried. And so there's a separation in the house. So when she comes in, you love the boys more than me. Well, I am the grown folk, but I didn't say to her, well, you love your dad more than me. You went to go live with him instead of with me. And so that issue. Now it is generations curse because I say my mama don't too much care for me. Now I care about my daughter, but I don't like for her to be around with all that drama and all that mess. And I try to be the best daughter that I can be, and I try to be the best mother that I can be. Nobody is perfect. So there are issues. And it's something that you said about we want to know the answers to what's going on. I used to be that person. But sometimes you are not going to find the answer to the questions you are looking for. And what are you going to do? I didn't been through it. And
So can
everybody
I
got
also ask you how
it.
old your daughter is, like where you guys are, like how long did it take you to get to this place of
Okay, now I was 30 years old when I started to go to therapy, and I agree with the other lady said that she need to change therapy. I was 30 years old. I'm now 55, and so I kind of in my 40 was able to let things go. My mother is not capable of giving me the love and attention that I want her to give me. So you got to recognize people who they are. So when I let that go, my dad, he ran the street, he chased women. Okay, you got to let that go for yourself. For yourself. Some people like drama. Now, me and my daughter, we in a decent spot. She has not been disrespectful in a couple of years. And but we don't talk a lot. But it's where she called me every so often. I like that she no longer disrespect me. I don't disrespect my mama, and she was a terrible mama. I didn't leave my child. My mama left me and didn't never come back. And I still don't disrespect my mom or my dad. My dad now passed away. But our point is, old school people, whatever type of parents we have, we didn't disrespect our parents like Lexus and Dyana. And that's why when I looked at her like, oh, she got some issues. And I'm gonna say something else because I see my a lot in my daughter in Lexus. Some people like drama. Some people like to create confusion. All you did is create more confusion within the family. And she say that her dad will never see her again, and unless he go to heaven. I hate to say this, but this is
Oh
true
my
from
God.
experience. She said that. This is true from experience. You, when people get older, we don't care. We don't care. You only hurting yourself. So when my daughter said, I never come around, I'm gonna be honest, I don't care because we over here living our own life and we happy over here. Now, do we want you to be in our life without the drama? Yes. But if you threat, we don't care. You get to a certain age, certain stuff you just don't care. So you're not hurting your dad. You hurting yourself. And most people have money when they get older. When you struggle when you're in your 20s and your 30s, but when you get in your 40s and your 50s, you're gonna have money. I see jealousy. I say I'm jealous of the life. I don't believe Nell took that girl no claws and say, look at everything that your daddy bought me. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it. She's lying. I'm gonna tell you how my daughter is. If she wants you on her side, she wants you to be against the other person. She does that with everybody. She'll come to me and talk about her dad because she want me on her side against whatever they done got into it. And then if me and her done got into it, she go to her dad and talk about me to her dad's because she want her dad on the other side. Now, me and her dad, we don't talk about each other to the kids. We don't do that one. And so you have to not let them kids tell y'all whatever type of relationship you got up. So I just wanted to come on here and say I've been the child and I've been the parent on both ends.
On both ends. Okay. And I want to point out, because this is in the chat, someone said that Nell has been the all of the animosity and all that anger that she has towards Nell, saying that she was kind of hard on her or whatever. This is your how does she put it? You guys get child support. Nell has been, the type of mother who's hard on her own blood children. She said that too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
their blood children say the same thing. And I won't even say hard on. She's just trying to make people accountable for what they had. Like respect what you guys have and then be accountable is what she sounds like she's saying.
Okay,
Uh,
let me speak on that real quick. I was
mhm,
accused of that with all of my kids too. I'm gonna tell you why. When I was coming up, they pacified me and sweet talked me. And when I got into the world and I ran across stuff, I was a crybaby and stuff was hard because everybody sweet talked me and pacified me. So I said, when I had kids, I'm not gonna do that. So when I had kids, I was direct, I was firm, I was in a butt just like Mel, right? And so then my kids didn't really want to talk to me about stuff. And I said, okay, Tim, you're going to have to switch up a little bit and not be so hard. You could be direct, but don't be so hard on them because you do want them to come to you. So I start switching up and not be so, I was still direct, but I just used different words. At first, I was kind of real cold with my words because I wanted them to get it. Because in the world, nobody gonna pacify you. So I just learned how to switch up my words, but still be direct. So I was that parent also.
mhm. Okay. Okay, girl. I appreciate it. Let me get to Miss Kim while she's still able to stay on stage. You can
Okay.
stay up here if you'd like, though. I
Okay.
appreciate.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to tell you, you are beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Okay.
you. I
All right.
appreciate you.
All right.
Hey,
See you
Miss
later.
Kim.
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you, girl.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to go do something with the mic and everything.
Okay.
But my opinion, I understand everyone's opinion as far as what they're saying about Lexi, but I don't believe that it's all about the money. Okay, maybe they could have did a lot more. They didn't have it to what I gathered at the time when she was young, but right now her feelings are from when she was a child.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting away from. This is how she felt that her dad, didn't, they would meet halfway, or whatever the case may have been. But she has feelings also. She remembers, she feels like Nell, allegedly, my opinion, really was the reason, and her children together with him was the reason that he didn't spend the time with her. She was the first child, and sometimes we, when we're children, we look at things different. Like, why isn't my dad, coming to get me, and why is this? So she made up in her head as a child, my opinion, that he loved them more, so that's why she grew into that. And yes, therapy is good, but if that therapy isn't working for you as far as having a resolution, then yes, she's going to say, well, I never have to talk to him. My opinion, you do need to talk to your father, and he does need to listen, whether he agrees with it or not, so he can really truly understand what she's feeling, whether it's the wrong thoughts or not. Who wants to grow up thinking that their father, isn't there for them? So what if she was 22 when they got the money? Well, buy me a car, upgrade me a year from the Ultima, allegedly that she had. Yeah, she wants all those things that she felt. But see, her brothers and sisters, they were younger at the time when they came into the money. So they were able to get these cars and everything. She's not seeing past the point that her father really didn't have any involvement with her. He
Mhm.
really didn't. He had some, but it wasn't the kind that a child would want. We tend to
Yes.
forget that she was a child and she's still thinking like one. That's where she's coming from, that child. She does not need to interact with Nell, for
This
my
is what I
opinion.
wanted to say because I know, and I think I might have already said this. I'm not sure, but this is what I wanted to say. If Chris was out there, which it sounds like he was, and that is based on what her own mama said, and then what we've also heard Nell say,
Correct.
that would mean anytime. I know Lexi may not want to hear this, but when Lexi was around, that was because Nell wanted her around. That's the part that I don't think she's clicking to.
Where did you get that from, Diana? Did 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 Nell? Do you really truly think? You can love a man and say,
Because in
okay,
opinion in my opinion, when you have families like that, the mother, it would be the wife, and Nell sounds like she runs the family, she runs the household,
correct.
she runs the family. If Chris was bringing Lexi around, or if Lexi was around the family at all, it was because Nell said, we're going to get her, or you need to invite her, all the way up to, because if Nell said no, Chris wouldn't do it.
That's
That's what
correct.
I believe.
Don't you think that's still wrong? Chris, the dad of Lexi,
Oh,
you have to talk to your wife and say, you know what? Well, then we need to go into counseling because this was my first child. That I was a HOE in the street wife. These are things that we need to talk about because he agreed with the child that she had before him.
no,
You
I
know, he
100.
he
Listen,
was there.
a
You
man
have to
who
fight.
left
My thing is,
4
I'm sorry.
children. This is a man who left 4 children,
Yeah.
allegedly, left 4 of his own children to be with another woman and her children.
Yes. Yes. So don't you think that he needs therapy with his daughter because he's not seeing it, and he should tell his wife, say, you know what, okay, let's say she did, so you need to bring your child in or whatever the case is. The point of it is she needs to be saying she's hurt.
Mhm.
She
Well,
still should be talking to him, because I said it long time ago. Chris was like hotel, and no one paid me any attention on that right there. So he has issues. He has more issues than his own children that's having these issues now. You're getting the son with the braids and everything. I think you need counseling, and you was crying over all that. You need to be crying over every last one of your children that were young at the time. But remember, you know what I'm saying? You
mhm.
still having that girl is still saying my daddy really wasn't being so that there for me. So she's automatically going to say, it's because of Nell. But she needs to tell the truth that it's not because of Nell. It's because of my dad. My dad had his own. He should want. to buy me a car when he get money. I never did it for my daughter because I did not have it at the time when she was growing up. But guess what? Grown or not, here's a token. I can pay the down payment. And then you can go on with that with you and your husband and your child. But for me, it's going to end up wrong. Everybody's going to bash that young lady, even though she's grown and she's in her feelings, but those are childhood feelings. No one is recognizing that a grown woman wouldn't have feelings like that because they're going to therapy. They would get over that part as being a grown adult. But those are that's the same thing with hotels children gonna go through.
I
Mark
want
my
to
word.
I want to read this comment from Connie Jones. This is a different comment. I wish that you could come up, Connie, because I would really like to hear more of your perspective on this. But Connie Jones said, Team Lexi, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I feel that Chris and Nell aren't being completely honest when it comes to Lexi. Nell almost has a strong negative reaction to Lexi.
Mhm.
So if you want to come, and I know you're
I
sharing.
wish she would come up. She should come up, and I'll drop down when she
You
can
would.
come up.
And I'll put the screen up if you want me to. I'm totally okay with that. But we need as much. We need different perspectives on this. Part of what you were saying, Kim, I shared in the sister review that I dropped this morning. I said that unfortunately, I feel like she has more negative emotion toward Nell than she does toward her dad. Her
Yes.
dad is the one who needs to be taking responsibility. It's also
Yeah.
the reason why I feel like maybe Nell was more of the drive was let's go get her, let's bring her, let's invite her, all the way to let's buy these Christmas gifts. I feel like it's probably more Nell than her dad, because I just feel like Chris. The more that's coming out about him, it just feels like Chris was doing his own thing.
He was doing a hotel, period.
Yeah,
And Nell, I'm still gonna side eye her because I was trying to get into that video, with Lexi, and I start side eyeing Nell. Maybe now, she's comfortable in being a side chick, allegedly. For me, was she a side chick?
I don't know. Let me say this. Hold on.
Got your money. I like that.
All right. I got the money. So I want to read this comment. I believe your name is pronounced Morasakino Morado. She said, according to Lexi, Nell only got rich from inheriting from her mother, which means that money is Nell's children's legacy from the grandmother. Why does Lexi feel entitled to it? And that was one of the things I made a comment about. She made the comment, Nell wouldn't have what she has if it wasn't for her mother. I don't know. And that's part of the thing where I was saying, as we get older, it is up to our parents to kind of shape those conversations with us and for us, because her children are going to have certain expectations too. You're
Yeah.
going to want to be able to have those conversations with your children.
Yes, yes. Well, God is good. I've stepped down. I'm kind of right now Team Lexi, and yes, it does seems, my opinion, like she is trying to like climb the ladder a little bit, but she's speaking from childhood, and it's still there. So that needs to be solved first with
Okay.
her dad, and then God is going to intervene, and everything will be fine. But right now. Lexi girl, they're not going for you. I'm sorry.
Okay. No worries. I appreciate you, Kim. I'm glad you were able to come up and get your mic working, girl. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye. Hey, Courtney.
Hey, Diana.
How are you, honey?
I'm good. How are you? I
Good.
just wanted to come up real quick. I think people putting too much on Nell.
Okay.
It's not fair.
Okay.
That's not fair at all. Chris is her father. We
Okay.
have seen Chris not even take up for Nell. So we do see that Chris has a problem with standing in the gap when he needs to. So let's take some of this pressure, even the pressure that Lexi has and some of the commenters have. Let's take some of that off because Chris made this baby with his wife.
Mm-mm.
And Chris was the head of that household. So it was on him to make sure that his daughter felt a certain way. And if Nell wasn't in line with what he needed for his daughter, then that was for him to address as a man and as a father. So stop putting it all on Nell.
because she even said herself in the interview, when Chris left for those 2 years, Nell had to go work at Dollar General and the son had to drop out of school to help pay bills. So Nell has had her own issues, own set of issues with Chris, and she's had to step up and provide for her family. So every time that Chris does something, then she also said that Nell was the person that came into the money, I guess, when they came up. So that was Nell's money. Now, yes, as when you marry somebody with a child, then you should accept that child as your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think Nell did not. However, people think because you become a parent, you become perfect. And no, you're not. You're
Mm-hmm.
not perfect. You're going to make mistakes as parents, just as you're going to make mistakes as a child. Um, she also said that Lance did not get a card. Lance had to pitch a fit. So why do you feel like they excluded you? Okay, Lance was excluded. Not then she said, okay, well, they mistreated Lance too because Lance is an outside child as well because Chris is not Lance's birth child. Then you went to say these things, but I follow Lance on Instagram. He posts his family all the time. So because your reality is still stuck somewhere does not mean that Lance is stuck in that same place. I can't say how he feels about his parents, but he posts them a lot. He's at the family events, so he doesn't feel too disgruntled. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if he didn't get a car as well, y'all the same age. He
Right.
didn't get a car, you didn't get a car. It wasn't a shade. It wasn't a dig towards Lexi. I don't
Right.
feel. But if you're on the outside looking in that I want a car, then you're gonna feel slighted.
Right.
Um, I think I don't, and let me make this clear. I don't dislike Lexi. I don't dislike her mama. I don't dislike the Fletchers. I think that each of them have a story from their point of view, and the truth is somewhere in all of their stories. You know,
One.
it's not going to, you're not going to get everything from everybody because everybody has their own, from their experience, they're going to come up with their conclusion of
Right.
how everything went down.
Right.
I think it's just blended families are hard enough. If the first marriage didn't end so well, that was another roadblock. The Lexi living in another state was another roadblock. Chris was young. Chris was doing his thing apparently. Clearly, he
Right.
cheated on the first wife. He cheated on Nell. He moved in with the other lady. He was doing his thing. I don't think he was a stellar dad. However, um you know he's grown up, so either you want to mend that relationship or you want to keep. I even just looking at it, even though I don't have a dog in this fight,
Mm-hmm.
just looking at it, I wouldn't know how to approach Lexi. Seems to have so much built up anger, that it just seems hard to know which angle to come at her where she will be receptive to mend something. And
Mm-hmm.
after so long, we don't know the dynamics of how they've tried to work it out, what they've gone through, what they've done. Instead of just necessarily taking this person or that person's side. Now, I did from the interview, from listening to Lexi, I did find some issues with her story. However, I cannot invalidate her experience because I was not there. But I did find some issues with her story, just listening to what she said. Now, that still doesn't mean I'm taking anybody's side. And I think people need to stop that. This is a family that needs to mend and that needs to work it out some type of way or if they choose not to work it out, I hope all of them on their own individual time get healing from this situation because they're family at the end of the day. And people
Correct.
saying, Chris, we don't everybody making assumptions for real when it comes to what we know, but
You're right.
if you're not directly quoting what was said by that person, you don't
Right.
know. You
You
don't
don't
know.
know. I'm.
You're
I'm.
making assumptions off of what you've experienced or what you think, but you don't know. And it's just like,
Right.
calm it down. I just think Lexi, I was listening to some of the things that she said, and even the mom. A lot of people, I know that a lot of people gonna jump on me for this one, but even the mother, when the mother jumped in, like I think I said this to you, Diana, when you hear a mom, just because they don't come off as crass and rude as Wanda and Betty, and they're loud and they're not loud with it, does not mean that they are not planting seeds. The mom was there doing that whole interview. Not one time did she try to reel Lexi in from spraying her family like that. Lexi has a right to tell her story, but in her story, what does Nell working at Dollar General for 2 years when Chris was gone? What does that have to do with the breakdown of the? What does that have to do with why you don't have a good relationship with your dad and stepmom. What
Correct.
does what Lance did when he was 16 have to do with why you don't have a
What's
good
going on
relationship
now?
with you?
Other
What
than
does what
other
does your sister being a cleat chaser have to do with you
other
know what I
than
mean?
you're trying to spray. You're just doing
You're
it.
you're spraying them. You're not. But what I would have respected is if you would have told the when, where, and hows of why your heart is broken and why how your father has broken your heart,
Yeah.
and where the breakdown has come from, and how we've tried to fix it, and how maybe you feel like he didn't make his effort, but you just spraying them. Either you want to entertain BS because come on, y'all, what are we entertaining? Her spraying her family like that? Like
Right.
she lined them up and sprayed everybody. Like for what?
And let's not forget, because the uppity made this point, the couple of you made this point in the comments. Nell gave her $22,000. That's not what you do to somebody you don't like. That I just wanted to point that out. I don't think
Then
she
she
was
went to talk about
$22,000
mhm,
is a significant amount of money.
mhm. Then she went to saying Nell showed her this Chanel, but took her to Victoria's Secret. But you also said that's what you wanted. So it's like nothing they can do if they don't read your mind or something. I don't know because if you say I want Victoria's Secret and they take you to Victoria's Secret and then you look at Nell's Chanel bag, like Lexi, come on now. It's like you kind of being difficult. It's just like I don't think Chris is by far perfect. I do think Chris was an absentee father at certain points in Lexi's
Mhm.
life, as well as his other children.
Mhm.
I do think that Chris is, like I said, we see him not even defend Nell at times, but I don't think it's fair to put everything on Nell because Chris made Lexi with his wife, and it's on Chris to make sure that Lexi feels it. So we can stop the Nell blocked him. Nell didn't. Nell couldn't
Mhm.
keep him home when he was young. Nell ain't block him from doing nothing he don't want to do for real.
And she ain't even got that kind of time anymore.
Exactly. Like so, come on. Like let's call a spade a spade. Chris is her father, so
Right.
he should carry the brunt of that load, not Nell.
I agree. I agree with that statement. I do. Let's see what else is happening in the chat. Rose said, and Lexi failed to mention that she lived with them until she was 7. Is that true? She lived with them until she was 7? Then went back to her mother because Nell said it. Okay, I don't recall that. I have to go back and listen to that interview because I don't remember them saying she lived with them until she was 7. And if that's the case, that could explain some of the animosity and resentment because she felt like she should still be there, that she wasn't a part of it. Because remember, she said, "How dare you say I'm your so-called daughter?" Like, what happened? Did Nell ask her to go back home because Chris was in the streets? What happened? I just don't remember it. So if anybody remembers more, let me know in the comments, or you can come up. Um, You were saying what I was thinking. She said unnecessary things. She slandered them, never talked about herself or her husband. Okay, that's for you, Miss Courtney. That she was slandering and never spoke about herself or her or how she's raising her own children. Yeah, because everybody's going to have that journey, right? Everybody's going to have to figure that out for themselves. But oh my goodness, let's see. Um, Britt said, I got a daughter just like that. I bust my back to make sure that she has everything. And she's just that way. Okay. Chris admitted that he was an absent father, even with his own kids. He did admit that. He said he wasn't there. And when Nell speaks and shares what was going on with them, he stays quiet. And I respect that because he's trying to let her get out her emotions and feelings, and he realizes he hurt the family. Um, Lernell said that she lived with them and she couldn't afford all the kids when Chris left. So that's the part, that's what she's stuck with, right? That she had to go back home to the mother and stepfather. Because I didn't even know that she lived with her with Chris and do you recall that, Courtney?
I didn't get
I'm
that
gonna
piece
go
of
back and
information,
listen
but it
to that,
makes sense. If
but
she
that
lived
explains
with them and then when they got money, that could be some like y'all didn't come back and get me when y'all, that could be. I don't know. I didn't hear that part though, but
right. So
um,
from what the comments are saying, she lived with Nell. When Chris left the home, they had to return her to the mother because she couldn't keep all of them.
that makes sense too. If she said that Lance had to drop out of school and help pay bills and Nell was struggling, you know. maybe that's what she had to do at that time. Then I do recall Nell saying when Lexi would call and Chris wasn't there, it would break her heart, when
Hmm.
she would call.
Oh, okay. So Cookie saying that she don't think it was in the interview. Maybe it was in the Carlos King interview with Nell and Chris, but I don't remember it. I don't remember it. But it does connect dots that we didn't have before, if that's the case. Um, yeah, you guys. All right, listen, we have been up for a little over an hour. I don't know if anyone else would like to come up and chit chat about your experience or something that you saw. Thank you, Miss Courtney, for coming up. Um, let's see. Queen Wisdom is saying yes, it was a part of the, I'm assuming, um, Carlos King interview. Because right after everybody was in love with the Fletchers, Carlos King brought them on to say, I wanted you guys from the beginning. Nell said that she was afraid to bring her children and everybody on the camera because she thought that they could be too much. Everybody really ended up loving them. Like I said, Lexi was actually the breakout star. 100%, because what happened at the table, I'm sure a lot of people recognize as just family. You have a big family like that, you're definitely going to have somebody who's going to have that type of experience. And a lot of people recognized it, related to it. Um, and we just wanted to hear a little more of Lexi's story, which we got. I still think that Lexi has an amazing story. I would still love to hear more. I'm hopeful. I hope that they can work things out. Um, it cannot be easy. Chris, Nell, and Lexi's mother, young 20 somethings trying to figure their way out, through life, period. And we're never going to make the right decisions, all the right decisions in our life anyway, but trying to figure out how to navigate relationships in your 20s with children, that's a whole nother ball game. And you can count on getting it wrong. Let's see. CK is about to destroy their marriage, in my opinion. The Fletchers better rethink what they want to bring to the show. Well, it is their life to bring to the show. I'm not sure if they'll destroy their marriage. I think that they know where they are in their lives, and they've already said that they are counselors to many people. You don't become counselors unless you've lived through some things and you're able to speak on it. So I think that they have a lot to offer in regard to their family and their marriage. I'm hoping that they can stay solid. And I'm not sure at this point, we already saw Lexi try to spray them with their own stuff. So Lexi seems like she's more of a danger to them right now than anything else. Let's see. Diana, if you listen to her, she said Chris was cheating on Nell when she was about 6. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was all over the place. She did say that. She said that she knew that they've had some problems with infidelity. Even though she was calling Nell a side chick, Chris was just out there, it sounds like. And he's admitted to it. Nell's already admitted to it. Lexi was the one who said that Chris moved in with a whole different family, another lady and her children, while, at the same time neglecting his own. Should he be proud of that? Nope. But he definitely needs to go to therapy with all of his children at this point. I do agree with that. Um, Kim said, I'm still side eyeing Nell. I'm still side eyeing Nell. Everybody has a different opinion right now, and I love it. This is exactly what these shows should be doing, asking us to take a deeper dive, look at what's going on, share different opinions. That's how it's supposed to work. I can say for sure, kids think that they know what's going on, but my mom just passed last year, and I'm finding out things that I couldn't imagine. 100% tease take. Let me tell you what me and my sister did when my father passed away. It was very unexpected. We had no idea that he was even sick. We got the call that he had passed away. And it's one of those things where, like I said before, our mom passed away before our father. When our mom was sick, we knew, and we were asking questions of our mother, during that stage, but we didn't think about it with our father. When our father passed away, we had no answers for some stuff. We ended up doing an ancestry.com and reaching out to people to get some answers to questions, but it's not the same. 100% not the same. And sometimes you just think that you have all the time in the world and you don't. So if you have problems that you can work out, if you are within the right mind to do so, try to work them out, because it's one of those things that sits with you for all of your days, period. There's no getting away from it. And then if you have children, you want to be able to give them answers, whether it's about your health or just certain things that you remember as a child and you're trying to get answers to. So it can be crazy. But we were on ancestry.com for weeks looking up names, people, his mother, his mother's family, our grandfather's side of the family. His mother died in childbirth, and we didn't even know that. Like, there was so much we didn't know. We knew he was in the military. There was so much we didn't know when we actually found out, and these like pieces started coming together in a puzzle. Like, we didn't know he was a singer. Like, there was so much stuff that we didn't know. And it's just, I don't know. It's shocking. If I could do it all over again in my next life, I would definitely be more inquisitive. I would ask those questions. Diana, your story is similar to my sister's. I lost both parents. I miss them dearly. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if you still have your parents, I can't even tell you. You feel like an orphan on the other side of it. It doesn't matter where you are in your life or how long you have them. You feel like an orphan on the other side of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. I'm happy that you are. Hey, Kevin. I'm happy that you guys were able to join me this afternoon for this live. Okay, speak your piece. And we had a chance to talk about the Fletcher family. They've brought us all together on this YouTube community, and they're still bringing people together in this YouTube community. This has been like the number one talked about subject for a very long time. For a very long time. What did you say? Let me see. So true. Sure do, Diana. Sure do, Diana. You feel like an orphan. You do. For everything you think you know about your family, the second you lose them, you feel like you don't know anybody. All you want to do is ask questions of everybody to get the information. But anyways, you guys have been awesome. You always are. Thank you to all of my moderators for everything that you do for me in the chat, bringing everybody together. Thank you to everyone who donated to the channel and became a member. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the Fletchers and to Lexi for allowing us to even talk about this. And we don't have all the answers. We're just simply, regurgitating what we saw and bringing up things from our own memories. But it's been amazing to talk to you guys about all of it. 670 of you were watching, so I hope that you all had an opportunity to hit that like button, become a member if you did not. I'm going to be dropping another video tonight, probably on all the Queen's men, and I still have to do Love and Marriage DC, because that's my show. I did do that for all the episodes last season, so I'm going to finish it up. What else is going on? That's pretty much it, y'all. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I will see you all on the next one. Make sure y'all hit that like on the way out. Bye-bye.